Well, hi everybody, it's Jane from Living Skies Vintage, and I'm back again. I have done a little more work on this page that I thought I had almost destroyed with my masking fluid. And if you want to see that, you can look at the oh no. Well, maybe I'll put it up here somewhere, but here's what I've done, and I am actually now ready to take off the masking fluid that I have put on here, and for good reason, because I wanted to do this watercolor background without having to work around all the dots. And it was easy enough to get past the hair in those larger objects with my watercolor paint, but I really wanted to do a watery background here, and I think I've achieved that. She kind of looks like she's floating in mist. So let's see if I can take off some of this masking fluid. And you just hold on and I'll speed this up. It is actually going pretty fast, so I may not have to speed it up. But you can see all the little dots that I put on there have remained now white. And I'm actually going to use some of my white charcoal to make them even whiter and kind of reflect more like pearls on the surface. But I can take all of this off now. You see I got this little golden earring all done, and this golden earring I was in the picture frame. I didn't want to get the black. I missed a little bit of the black because of how I had the masking fluid kind of covering that area, but it's that's going to be easy enough to fix. The majority of it is working really well. Bigger areas like this, sometimes it's easier to stretch and pull it off. These little dots are coming off really well with just my eraser here, so let's keep doing that for them. And I've worked, sadly that's my cat wanting some attention. Do you have a cat? Do you have a cat that demands attention like mine does? He does. If I don't pay attention to him soon, he may even get up here, like he does, in the middle of all my work and my coloring stuff. Now this part here is, it's not a mirror, it's actually a fan. It's a see-through fan. I've seen them in real life, actually. They're beautiful. They're a white see-through silk, and then usually they have a nice embroidery on it, and I can see the back of the fan through this, and that's how I knew it wasn't a mirror. The fact that I could also see her chin through this made it like that. So I'm just going to pull this off. Now this was an area that was a little bit damaged up in here, but I think that we've managed to save it. I'm just going to pull this rest of this off stretchy. Like, this is how you really should do it, is pull and stretch it off. And that makes it seem to come away from the paper without ruining anything else below it. But I had made a mistake. If you want to go back and look at that video, it poured all the way across this part and over here. So some of this ink from the coloring page has actually been lifted from when I tried to remove the masking fluid too early. But I can work around that. Oops, that's a little too long. And we'll just finish getting rid of all of these. Just quickly, just like you're erasing something away. And having used the watercolors, of course, I'm not affecting that coloration at all. And I think I've got it all off. Here, let's just see. Sorry for the banging. Oh, no, there's one there. One there. It's easy to feel if it's not off. There's a little bit. That was just kind of hanging there. But yes, that's turned out really well, and I'm really happy with those, the white dots that I will now be covering with charcoal. You're not very happy. Let's see if I can get this pointy one on. Of course, I can never get the pointy one out. Oh, hold on. Do this. There we go. I've had this artist chalk for years. I'm just glad I can use it now. That Conte et Paris. I probably had this since like the 70s. That's how old this box of chalk is. So this is my plan, is to take the chalk, do a bright white dot. You can see that really shows up against the watercolor. And then this will become the white pearls dangling. Now I should have made this a little bit longer or a little bit sharper, but that's what we're doing. See, that's quite a bit. I can see the difference between this white and that white at the paper, which makes a difference. And then while I'm coloring, it'll make another difference. So let me see if I just have, I just want to shave this chalk down a little bit. I have my pencil sharpener already put away for my trip that I'm taking pretty quickly. We'll be heading to Mexico shortly. I hope that you all will join me as I try to go live from there. I am taking, like I said, some of my art stuff. I am not taking my noisy cat. He thinks he should have some treats, is what it is. He doesn't, yes, you don't need any treats. No, you don't. He's pretty sassy, eh? So there, I've kind of sharpened it a little bit. There we go, that's better. I can get right in there just a little bit easier than I had been. Make these. And they're standing out nicely against the petals of the lotus, which is kind of a whitish white and pink mix. There you go. That's where I'm getting to on this. So I'm going to let y'all go while I do this very boring part of filling in the dots, and I'll come back to you when I'm going to do some pencil work. So we'll see you in a while. So hi, I'm back again. So I have finished making all of those covered with the white charcoal. Where did I put it? One of these, my little white charcoal. And I've also used that to kind of make the silk whiteness of the fan that she has in front of her face, but behind her shoulder. And I've added some of the Sharpie extra fine black silk threads. Not going through this paper. Maybe a couple little dots there. Got a little heavy, but that I should be able to fix. So, watch those Sharpies. They will, this one's a pretty juicy one, so I was holding it there a little too long. Anyways, I am now starting to use my pencil crayons. I want to go in and do a little shading on her face and maybe bring up some highlights in her skin and her lips. So let's get started here. I have this, this is a brown ochre. I'm just gonna give a little bit of shading inside the ear. Maybe a little bit behind. Pull that up into her hair a bit. Here. Now there's definitely some shading back in here, which they've indicated. This is also a spot that got a little roughed up, I should say, from the masking fluid incident that once this picture is done will never be spoken of again. So I'm just going to just kind of lightly put in a little skim of this here to make it look like she has a little bit of a spinal curve. And I've got a nice peach here, and I can kind of darken that just a touch without making it brown so much. I just want to give it a little, I can see little bits of the paper are moving in here, so I'm going to just be really lightly working on this. The paper was hurt in the masking fluid fiasco. But yeah, I could see a little bit of the paper fibers moving there. Let's just get a little bit of this color in here. See if we can move it up and blend it in. Not bad. Just trying to get rid of some of the extra white. Give me that. Where'd that tan one go? Put it away. I must have. It can't be far. There it is. Yep. Right in here. Just in here under her neck. Down here. Under that earring. We'll just blend that in with this little bit of peach right here. Well, okay, that's good. I think that's come off nicely. There, under ear. A little bit there. And then this, just going to that. Oh, she's got some very, I'm going to give her some luscious lips. I want the right color though. I want it very dark. That's not what I'm looking for. No, I want it to be almost purpley. Here, that's better. A magenta. That's what I'm looking for. Hold your ears. I have an electric pencil sharpener, which I find comes in very handy. Because I like sharp pencils. Don't do it too much or they just don't look right. Blend some of that brown ochre that I put around her eyes in, just to give it a little bit of shape. There we go. Actually, we'll have, oh, don't want to use thread. Not yet. It's going to have a cheekbone, probably in here. Not the magenta. I'm holding on to it because I might need it yet. Sure, I'm happy with that cheekbone. Now, chalk does allow you to put some color down. It just doesn't go down quite as smoothly. There, I think I'm getting her face to where I want it to be. I'm not too sure that I still like that. I'm just going to give this a bit of an erase. I'm sorry, I'm not talking, but just concentrating on trying to even out her skin tones. I like what's going on up here. This is okay. We'll see how the rest of the page develops before I worry about too much about that. I'm just that there. Move it out again with a little bit of peach. That way. Okay. Maybe not exactly what I want, but I will go with it for now. I'm not going to fuss with it too much more. Just want to get that kind of more equal on both sides. She's got a lot of blush on. But now I've got the magenta out, I'm also going to get out a couple more of these purples here. And we'll start on some of the background. And she tends to be more of the mulberry, so I just want to tend to designate where the colors are and keep going. Or at least that's what I do. And I really like how pencils go down over watercolor too. The watercolor just, I don't know, somehow makes the paper just a little rougher. And I guess that's because it absorbs some of the water and then dries up again. But it gives you just such a nice texture when you're coloring. And the pencils just flow onto the paper. Like I am not pressing hard. And the color result, I don't know how it's coming, how much it's coming through on the camera. But I can see the green of the paper and how some of the brush strokes even, and yeah, I just really like how this works on my coloring book. So I'm back up to this shoulder, going to bring this color down again, and I can always go back over these pearly things with my charcoal once more. I'll just make sure that the pencil is covering a lot of the artist lines. And then those tend to just fade away, disappear into the back, and you just see color on color on color. Like we do in normal life. And I like how dark that is, but I want to bring in another dark purpley color. Here we go. This one. Yeah. That's just going to blend that whole thing in really nice there. Yeah, like that. I'm going to give this a little bit of sharp. There we go. That's better. It's nicer to have a sharp point when you're trying to do these little tiny areas. Because it's your pencil that'll help you with getting it look much more precise than a felt pen or a watercolor paint. And here we go. I don't tend to talk to myself very much when I color. That's why I find it very hard to do this as a chat, or keep chatting, I guess. It's not like you guys are live and actually talking to me. I haven't quite decided what color I'm making these tassels on her dress. I'm trying to decide if I want to make them a gold drop, and I'm not really thinking about that too much. It's not my first choice. Right here. Maybe they'll end up being white as kind of a homage to the whiteness of the camellia. I think these are camellias. They're either lotuses or camellias. But no matter what they are, I know how I'm going to color them. They're going to be more white and pink. I'm just trying to do this a little softer now so that this can fade off into the bottom. Sorry, here I am drifting off again. Maybe you would be happier if I put this on with some music. And then we can talk later. I'll have to think about that. Don't know how to do that, actually. I'll have to look that one up. But I am liking how this is coming out. Towards here. There, that's coming out. Just feed that down just a little bit, and I can pull other colors up into it. Well, a little more down there. A little more down there. I like how that's working. See how the it's almost like a cloud or a mist coming up her body. And how the intensity of the color comes. So I now got, so I got that magenta in, and I got that in. Now I want to do some near the top, some really dark purple. That's Prussian blue. I think I got my darkest purples here right now. Okay, let's try this one. Oh, that's where I'm trying to get to. Now all of this watercolor before will be enhanced if you try and mix in your other pencils in kind of fluffy cloud formations. That's why I'm kind of doing it in this circle, circular motions. Different layers of how you have your paint down will give you different effects. And as I said before, you can always come back and make these pearls a little whiter once you do this part. But I think it really helps to get the charcoal on there first, because you can color over it and you'll get almost like a haze or a shine from it when you do that. Kind of like if you're doing ghostly lights. well, I'm going to continue with this, and when we come back next time, we'll be a little further along, and we'll do some finishing details. In the meantime, thanks for coming by. Please, if you haven't already, give this video a thumbs up and subscribe. It doesn't cost you anything, and it sure does help me out and helps the algorithm so that I can get out and see more people, or more people can see me that do enjoy this type of content. So thank you again, and we'll see you soon. Bye now.